Every single day, the world presents us with a choice, a really fundamental one. It's a question that doesn't just define who we are right now, but who we are capable of becoming. And look, this isn't some deep philosophical puzzle. It's a practical choice you make every single day. Growth, it's not going to wait for the perfect moment. It won't wait for you to feel ready. It begins the very instant you decide that good enough just isn't good enough anymore. So, to really understand what growth is, we first have to meet its greatest enemy. And this enemy is tricky. You know, it's deceptive because it looks and it feels like a friend. I'm talking about our comfort zone. It's that warm, predictable feeling, right? The path of least resistance. It's that quiet little whisper in your head that says, hey, you've done enough, you are enough, just stay here. And our brains are literally wired for this, to find that stable, easy state to conserve energy. It promises you security, but what it's really doing is building a cage all around you. This is the deceptive deal we make with ourselves. We chase this promise of peace, but what do we actually get? Stagnation. We seek safety, and in return, we're handed a totally average existence. We trade our own untapped potential for the simple feeling of ease. Man, when you see the real price tag, you realize it's a terrible, terrible trade. So, okay, if comfort is the trap, how the heck do we escape? Well, the answer isn't to look for a different, easier path. The secret is to fundamentally change our relationship with difficulty itself, and to finally understand that the hard path is the only path forward. This right here, this is the first big mental shift we have to make. You know that feeling of being a little off balance, uncertain, maybe even a bit scared? We've been taught our whole lives to see that as a warning sign. But it's not a signal that you're failing. It's the signal that you are finally starting to grow. So what is that discomfort really made of? It's the friction of real progress. See, growth isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you do. It demands struggle. It requires you to sacrifice your time, your ego, your old comforts. It needs you to persist, especially when every fiber of your being is telling you to just stop. It is forged in the fire of adversity. Thinking this way reframes everything. Challenges aren't just random, cruel punishments. Think of them more like carefully designed tests. Each one is an opportunity to prove you're ready for the next level, to build the exact strength and wisdom you're going to need once you get there. And this brings us to one of the most misunderstood parts of this entire journey: failure. We spend our lives being taught to fear it, to avoid it at all costs. But what if it's actually our most powerful tool for making progress? Failure is not a curse, it is a teacher. Every single time you fail, you are handed a lesson. It is not a final verdict on your worth. It's simply vital feedback. It's data that points you toward a better way to do things. And you know what? The exact same thing is true for pain. It's not just a punishment to be avoided. Whether it's emotional or physical, it's a signal. It's your body and your mind telling you exactly where you're weak, what needs to be healed or strengthened, or where the boundary is that you need to push right through. And this is what all that struggle, all that failure, and all that pain creates: resilience. True strength was never about avoiding the fall. It's always been about how you get back up. It is the conscious decision to persist, to learn from the failure, to listen to the pain, and to keep moving forward no matter what. Now, shifting our mindset. That's the first half of the battle. We now understand the trap of comfort, and we get the necessity of failure. But how do we turn that powerful understanding into consistent action? Well, the engine for that transformation is discipline. So often, we wait around for motivation, but motivation is just a feeling. It's a fickle gas that comes and goes whenever it wants. Discipline, that's a system. It's the engine that keeps running long after your feelings have run out of gas. It's the promise you make to your future self, a promise you keep especially on the days you really don't feel like it. And building it is a clear, repeatable process. It starts by just looking your fear right in the eye and acknowledging it's there. Then, you have to consciously identify and reject the comfortable excuses it offers you. From there, it's all about small, consistent, daily actions. Not some giant leap, just one more step. And that single step, taken day after day, is how you build unstoppable momentum. Think about it like building muscle in the gym. It's not by lifting something light and easy. You build it by introducing strain, by pushing against a resistance that actually challenges you. Your mind works in the exact same way. It needs resistance. It needs adversity to grow strong. This all leads us to the most powerful idea of all, the one that puts you, and only you, right in the driver's seat of your own life. This is where true power lies. It doesn't come from your circumstances, your genetics, or your luck. It comes from taking full, radical ownership of everything you can control. Your time, your choices, your effort. Every excuse, every ounce of blame you place on other people is just a surrender of that power. Ownership is how you seize it back. Forget waiting for the right time or for perfect conditions to arrive, because they never will. All that endless planning and analysis, that's just a form of fear. The only thing that matters is the commitment to action. Commit to just the first step. And that fear you feel, it's not going away. It's a permanent companion on the path to growth. So stop trying to eliminate it. The goal isn't to become fearless. The goal is to learn to act in spite of it. This is the ultimate call to action. Own it all. Your results, your setbacks, your victories. The moment you stop outsourcing blame, you reclaim control. It is all yours. See every single challenge you face not as an obstacle, but as an invitation to prove what you're really made of. This is your moment. This is your power. This is your chance to rise. So I'll leave you with one final question. The life you truly dream of, it isn't hiding in the safe, comfortable places. It's waiting for you on the other side of discomfort, on the other side of fear, on the other side of the very next hard thing you choose to do. The only question left is, will you go and find it? Have you ever felt, well, stuck? You know, like you're just waiting for something to happen, for some big sign or opportunity to finally come along and change your life? Today, we're gonna get real. We're diving into the raw truth about what it actually takes to break free and grow. This right here, this might be the single most important thing you ever realize. Just let that sink in for a second. Nobody is coming. There's no savior on a white horse, no mentor with a secret map, and definitely no winning lottery ticket. So many of us spend our lives waiting for a push from the outside, a push that honestly is never going to come. And because of that reality, real lasting change, it doesn't start with a knock on your door. It starts with a declaration you make to yourself. It's that moment you finally look in the mirror and decide with every single part of you that you absolutely refuse to stay the same for one more day. And listen, here's the key. This isn't about wishing or hoping. It's about forcing. It's an active word. The power to completely change your path isn't out there somewhere for you to find. It's an internal fire that you and only you have the power to unleash. It has to be a conscious, deliberate choice. So, I want you to ask yourself this right now. When does that transformation really kick off? When is that perfect moment to start building the life you actually want to live? The answer is always, always right now. Tomorrow is just this convenient shelf where we put our dreams until they collect dust and fade away. The real decision, the one that actually matters, can only happen in this exact moment. Okay, so let's say you've made the decision. What's the first giant wall you're going to run into? It's not what you think. It's not failure or criticism. It's an enemy that disguises itself as your best friend, comfort. We have to start seeing comfort for what it is. It's not a safe harbor. It's the cage that keeps you from your true potential. And look at this. It really breaks down the choice we're all facing every day. On one side, you've got comfort. Yeah, it feels safe. It's easy. But where does it lead? To being average, to being stuck. And then you look at the other side, growth. Is it uncertain? You bet. Can it be painful? Absolutely. But it is necessary. It's the only path to becoming stronger. And here's the bottom line. Growth and comfort cannot exist in the same space. You just can't have both at the same time. You have to sacrifice one to get the other. You should start thinking of discomfort as the price of admission for a better life. It's the cost of entry. So why do so many people pick comfort? Well, it pretty much boils down to one thing: fear. The fear of failing, the fear of being embarrassed or looking stupid, the fear of what other people will think. And these fears are so powerful that people will literally trade away their potential just for the illusion of safety, trapping themselves in a life that's so much smaller than the one they could have had. Now, to fight this battle against comfort and fear, you're gonna need weapons. And I want you to think of them as your sword and your shield. Your sword is discipline. That's your offensive weapon, what you use to push forward and take action. And your shield is accountability. That's your defense, what protects you from your own excuses. Let's talk about that sword for a second. Discipline. It's not some glamorous, exciting feeling. No, it's actually this really simple 4-step process. 1, you show up every single day, especially on the days you don't feel like it. 2, you do the boring work, the repetitive stuff nobody claps for, because that's where skill is actually built. 3, you completely ignore that fleeting feeling called motivation, and you rely on your commitment instead. And 4, you repeat and repeat. That's it. That's the engine of greatness. This says it all, doesn't it? Real achievement isn't magic. It's architecture. It's built brick by boring brick through that consistent, unglamorous effort you put in when nobody's watching. Every small action, every task you repeat, that's just another brick in the foundation of the person you're becoming. So who's the architect here? Who's the one person actually laying all those bricks, day in and day out? When it all comes down to it, there's only one. And that person is you. This is your shield. This is accountability. And listen, this isn't about blame. It's the exact opposite. It's about empowerment. The second you accept 100% responsibility for your life is the second you grab the steering wheel. Because the biggest war you will ever fight isn't against the world outside. It's against that voice inside your own head. It's the inner battle against your own excuses, your own doubt, your own craving for what's easy. Winning this battle, well, it's everything. So let's just be honest for a minute. What are the stories you keep telling yourself? What are those go-to justifications that keep you right where you are, instead of taking real, meaningful action? Here's a classic. We've all used this one. The myth of the perfect time. But the truth? There is never, ever going to be a perfect time. There is only right now and the excuses you're using to avoid it. And here's another favorite. We get so focused on what we don't have instead of getting creative with what we do have. This excuse is just a way to push responsibility away from ourselves and wait for something to just be handed to us. This might just be the most toxic excuse of them all. It puts you straight into a victim mentality. Comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20 is the fastest way to give away all of your power. Their story is not your story.
So here's the critical distinction. Excuses are a dead end. They give you absolutely nothing except a permission slip to stay put. Failure, on the other hand, failure is rich with rewards. It gives you lessons. It builds resilience. It makes you stronger. Excuses just keep you stuck.
The antidote to all these excuses is mental toughness. And it's not about being fearless or never feeling doubt. It's simply the raw ability to keep pushing forward when every single part of you is screaming to quit. And the most important part? It's not something you're born with. It's a skill you build, like a muscle, every single time you choose action over comfort. And all of this brings us to the final powerful truth. Your future isn't some destination you eventually arrive at. It's a structure. It's a house that you are actively building or letting fall apart with every single choice you make today. It all boils down to a series of choices you make, moment by moment. So what are you choosing? The temporary relief of comfort or the long-term strength that comes from growth? The paralysis of excuses or the momentum that comes from action? The prison of blame or the incredible power of responsibility?
The choice is yours. The tools are right there in your hands. Your future is waiting for you to create it. So what are you waiting for? Go build it.
You know, we all have these big goals, these things we're chasing. But what if I told you the biggest threat to your success isn't failing? What if it's celebrating too early? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty counterintuitive idea, the incredible power of moving in silence, and why the most important work, the real work, almost always happens when nobody is watching. And right here, this is the heart of the matter. It's not that everyone is out to get you, not at all. But praise and envy, they can be two sides of the very same coin. This isn't about being paranoid, it's about being strategic. It's about understanding that protecting your energy is just as crucial as putting in the hours.
This brings us to a really critical psychological trap. See, when we tell everyone our goals, that little burst of praise we get gives our brain a hit of dopamine. It feels amazing, right? It feels like we've already done something. But that feeling, that sense of satisfaction, that can be the very thing that kills our drive to do the actual hard work.
So how do we actually do this? Well, we've broken it down into 5 key pillars. And look, this isn't just some list of tips. Think of it as a blueprint for building success from the ground up, in a way that's real, sustainable, and totally protected from all that outside noise. First things first, we have to face the single biggest distraction of all, noise. It's so easy to get caught up in talking about climbing the mountain that we forget to actually take the first step.
And there's real science behind this. It's called the premature praise pitfall. When you announce a goal, your brain gets a reward, that dopamine release. You feel that sense of accomplishment just from someone saying, "Wow, great idea." The huge danger here is that you've basically tricked your brain into feeling successful before you've earned it. The craving is satisfied, but the work isn't done.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Vision is cheap. Talk is cheap. You can spend all day telling people what you're gonna build, but the only thing that actually creates results is the quiet, consistent, day in, day out commitment of laying one brick at a time.
Which leads us right into our second point. You have to protect your ambition itself. Think of a brand new idea like a tiny seed. In those first stages, it is incredibly fragile. It needs the right conditions in the dark to even begin to take root. Let's break it down like this. Step 1, you have the idea, the seed. It's small, it's vulnerable. Step 2, the silent work. This is the roots spreading out underground where no one can see them. Nobody claps for this part. And then finally, step 3, the tangible result. The tree that breaks through the soil for the whole world to see. You just can't skip step 2. It's impossible. Man, this quote is just so powerful.
Growth doesn't happen because it's being watched. It happens because it's being nurtured. The real work is always the disciplined, private, and often unseen effort that nobody ever gives you an award for. And this is exactly why working in private is such a huge strategic advantage. Sharing your plans too early, it just invites doubt from people who can't see what you see. It puts all this pressure on you to perform. It attracts competition, even sabotage. And worst of all, you give away your entire playbook. You basically hand over control of your own story to others.
Okay, so this idea of protection isn't just for your big goals. It also extends to your personal resources, the actual fuel you need for the journey.
Just look at the contrast here. It's night and day. Overexposure invites pressure, judgment, and a sense of entitlement from others. It creates all this unnecessary risk. But privacy? Privacy creates focus. It creates stability. And it gives you the quiet space you need to build and, just as importantly, to recover from setbacks.
This is such a classic trap, isn't it? People go broke trying to look rich. But real wealth, true financial success, it's not loud, it's secure. It's not about the car you drive today, it's about the assets you're quietly building in the background. The goal should always be to invest in your future, not to impress the people around you right now. And you know what? The exact same thing goes for your struggles. Real strength isn't pretending you don't have weaknesses. Real strength is having the wisdom to work on them in a safe, protected space. You don't just hand ammunition to people who might use it against you. You handle your business, you recover privately, and then you come back stronger. Now let's move on to our fourth point. This one goes way beyond tactics and strategy. This gets to the very core of who you are. This is about protecting the integrity of your success and of yourself. Before you post that picture of your good deed, before you tell everyone about that kind thing you did, just stop and ask yourself this one simple but incredibly powerful question. Why? What's the real motive here? Your honest answer will reveal everything. And that single question forces you to really distinguish between two very different drivers, performance and purpose. Performance is fragile. It's all about image, it's all about seeking applause. But purpose is solid. It's driven by your character and it seeks real, actual impact. One is built on sand, the other is built on solid rock. And this right here, this is the ultimate test. When you help someone and then broadcast it to the world, they can feel like a prop in your story. But when you help someone quietly, you protect their dignity. It makes the kindness about them, not about you. And that is what builds true character. And that brings us to our final stop. The ultimate payoff for all this silent discipline, all this focused, behind-the-scenes work. This is it. This is the whole thing. While everyone else is caught up in the noise and the likes and the comments, you're in the lab. You're in your cocoon. You're building. You disappear for a while. And when you reemerge, you don't need to announce that you're back. Your transformation says it all for you. And that's the central idea we'll leave you with. Let your work make the noise. Let your results be the announcement, because the success you build in the quiet will echo so much louder than any words ever could. So ask yourself, what's the one goal you can start working on today, right now, away from the eyes of the world? What if you had a map for your own becoming, a blueprint to consciously and deliberately build the next and most powerful chapter of your life? That's exactly what we're here to do today. And we start with a choice. It's a fundamental choice, really. You can stay right where you are in the story you already know, the one that's comfortable, the one that's safe, or you can decide to write something entirely new. But here's the part that matters most. You can't do both. Every single step forward means leaving something else behind.
So if you have to choose, if every yes to one thing is a no to everything else, how in the world do you decide? Well, it all starts with finding your North Star, that one single guiding light that makes every other decision simple.
This is the question that cuts through all the noise. And it sounds so simple, doesn't it? But answering it, really answering it with complete honesty, might be one of the hardest things you ever do. Because as soon as you have that answer, you realize every single thing you do is either taking you a step closer or a step further away. So I'll ask you again, what is it?
You see, when you find that kind of clarity, something powerful happens. The moment you define your ultimate yes, you automatically define all of your no's. Suddenly, you're not just drifting anymore. You are making an intentional choice. You're turning your back on all the other paths so you can walk yours. And that kind of focus, that's not just a nice little tool. It's your single greatest advantage.
You know, there's that famous line from Alice in Wonderland that just nails this idea. If you have no idea where you're going, well, don't worry, you'll get somewhere. But the chances of that somewhere being a place that actually matters to you, it's pretty slim. You're just leaving your entire life up to chance.
But okay, let's say you've found that North Star. A new reality starts to sink in. The path that leads to it, it's not going to be crowded. And to walk it, you first have to understand the incredibly high price of just being normal.
Think about what normality really is. It's not just some state you find yourself in. It's a decision. It's a choice to do what everyone else is doing, which logically means you will get what everyone else gets, an average result. And this, well, this just says it all. If you are aiming for something uncommon, for a life that only the top 5% get to live, then you cannot walk the same road as the other 95%. It's that simple. Your actions have to match your ambition.
Let's break it down into a simple equation. It's almost mathematical. The output, the life you have, is a direct reflection of the input, the effort you put in. There is absolutely no way to get an uncommon output from a normal input. It just doesn't work that way. The input has to change first.
And this is the shift in thinking we all need. Choosing the abnormal path, the uncommon one. It isn't about being weird. It's about being brave enough to start building a new world for yourself. A world that is truly yours. Of course, choosing that uncommon path is almost never comfortable. In fact, most of the time, it's terrifying. And that brings us to the real heart of this whole journey. What do you do with fear? I want you to picture this, an open mic night. A young woman walks up to the stage, and the first thing she tells the room is, "I've never done this before, but I've always wanted to." And you can see it on her face. She is absolutely terrified. Her hands were shaking so badly, she had to grip her phone with both of them just to keep it steady enough to read. She was filled with terror, but she was also filled with determination. And in that one critical moment, her desire to try was just a little bit bigger than her fear. So she began to read. And just by doing it, by reading her poem, even with the shaky hands and the pounding heart, she wrote a new story for herself. She proved to the only person who mattered that she was bolder than she had ever believed. In that moment, she won. You see, that little story, that's the real meaning of courage. It's not the absence of fear. Courage is acting in spite of the fear. The moments where your hands are shaking, but you push forward anyway, that's where it all happens. That's where everything can change. So where do you find that strength? The strength to act with those shaky hands? This leads us to the final piece of the blueprint. It's about changing your relationship with your own past, seeing it not as an anchor holding you down, but as the very source of your power. It is so incredibly easy to look back at our failures, at our mistakes, and feel like they define us forever, like we're trapped. But I'm telling you, your past is not a life sentence. It is the very thing that has prepared you for this moment, right now.
I want you to think of it like this. Every setback you've ever had, every mistake, every moment of pain, that was just a spring being pulled back tighter and tighter. All of that struggle wasn't for nothing. It was building potential energy, getting you ready for a powerful launch forward.
Your past isn't just a random series of events. It was your personal training ground. All of it, the good, the bad, especially the bad. It was all part of a curriculum designed for one purpose: to forge the lessons, the wisdom, and the tools you hold in your hands right now. And what this all means is that we have to stop seeing hardship as something to be avoided. It's a requirement for growth. You can't truly understand the light if you haven't known the dark. The journey through the tunnel is what makes you the person who is ready for what's on the other side. You know, it reminds me of Tiger Woods, after battling back through so much pain and adversity. After one grueling day, a reporter asked him how he felt, and he just said, "I've given myself a chance." And that is exactly what your past has done for you. All the scars, all the struggles, they just kept you in the game. You survived it all. You made the cut. And that is the only question that's left. You've earned your place. You are here, right now, with more strength and more wisdom than you've ever had before. You have given yourself a chance. The game is waiting. So, will you play?